To today's webinar on the power of 4M's preliminary real-time utility data. I'm Chris Garafola, and I am the Senior Content Manager here at 4M Analytics, and I'll be moderating the discussion for you today. But joining me today are my amazing colleagues, Lizzie Laster, the Director of Customer Success, Amir Hoffman, our VP of Product, and a special guest who you actually don't see on the image here right now, but Joe Eberly is joining us as well as our VP of Growth and Sales here at 4M Analytics. So I wanted to begin with just going through some housekeeping items for everybody. Today's webinar will be recorded, and you will receive the on-demand recording after today's webinar. If you have any questions at all during this presentation, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A section below. We're going to try to save some time at the end here to answer as many questions as we can. All right, now hopping into today's agenda. So for today's agenda, we're going to cover, first and foremost, who 4M Analytics is. We're going to dive into the power of real-time data. Then we're going to give a live demo of real-time data in action. And then we're going to provide some project examples of standard and advanced utility data. Then we're going to give a preview into 4M's roadmap. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to dive into some Q&A with the experts, i.e. my amazing colleagues here. So without further ado, I'm going to pass this mic on over to Lizzie.
Thank you, Chris, and welcome everyone to the Power of the Real-Time Utility Data webinar. I want to start today by highlighting the holistic problem that we're trying to solve for and the broader alignment from the industry on the right way to solve it. Just recently at the CGA conference and expo in Colorado, the question was asked to the attendees of what practice or technology do you think has the most potential to reduce damages to underground facilities? The attendees responded, and you can see through this image here, and the answer seemed quite obvious. Through mapping and through AI, we will be able to reduce damages in the underground space. And that's exactly what 4M has done and is continuing to do. And so what I want to kind of cover here is that when it comes to collecting utility data, the fact that you even joined us today tells me that some of these things that I'm about to talk about below might resonate with you. Record research is time consuming. Data is fragmented and there is no single source of truth. Owners respond slowly at different times, if at all, and the records can be inaccurate, outdated, incomplete, or non-existent. Poor data leads to poor planning, poor design, and budgeting issues. So due to lack of data availability, there is poor and efficient planning and design resulting in extra field investigations for you guys due to incomplete data and undefined plans. There's a lack of certainty in the contingency budgeting as well. And lastly, this uncertainty we've talked about puts your project's execution at risk. Unexpected utility findings lead to project delays and cost overruns. The utility relocations are costly and lead to redesigns and more cost. These are safety hazards due to unknown utility lines and landscapes. So I think if what I've said here makes sense, I think what I've said here might make a lot of sense to you, which is why that you guys have been here today. So then who are we? 4M is set out to unlock the world below us, ensuring the continuity and development of all critical infrastructure and services that people rely on through extracting and conflating data from the public domain and documents such as as-built and blueprints, as well as leveraging satellite imagery for identifying on-surface objects and change detection to validate the data. In the past year alone, we have mapped over 100 billion linear feet of map utilities, interacted with more than 1,900 users in our platform. We operate in all 50 states and have more than 2,000 projects created. And our real-time data by the end of 2024 will be live in roughly 20 states. And you might just be curious, beyond who we are, who all do we partner with, and does it make sense for you? 4M was built for project owners, civil engineers, general contractors, and government entities for the early stages of infrastructure development. Today, we are going to focus primarily on our real-time data utility offering, But at the end, we are also going to touch on how we use our full technology stack for our standard and advanced utility data offerings as well. So it's my pleasure to hand this over to our VP of Product, Amir Hoffman, to highlight more about our real-time utility data product for you today. Amir?
Thank you, Lizzie, and welcome everyone to this webinar. As Lizzie said, in 4M Analytics, our mission is to create a ground truth of utility infrastructure available and accessible over a simple map. The first step, or one of the initial steps to do it, is the real-time data, and this will be our focus for this webinar. So starting with understanding the main gap today in infrastructure projects is that at the life cycle of the project, especially during pursuits, bidding, or initial planning, there's a lack of or insufficient utility data. This lack of data poses or results with inabilities to understand the utility data infrastructure before going to the field, and it's leading to potential risks and conflicts that can be only uncovered during or after the field investigation. And this lack of data eventually encounter unexpected conflicts, delays, or safety risks that only are mitigated at the field investigation. So at that stage, after people, field team, equipment, when sent to the field, identifying the risk and conflicts only there can be very costly and commonly impact the project timeline and budget. So our approach at 4M is to enable you to identify, using comprehensive utility data at early stages of the project, to identify those unknowns and those risks, and enable you, empower you, the project teams, to make informed decision right from the start, minimizing the risk and optimizing the resource allocation. Eventually, you can maybe call it a desk researchers on steroid that provide you a very comprehensive utility data at the start of the project, re-awarded, or after you awarded it. But it also, of course, has a great impact on the project outcomes and your ability to make the project on time and on budget. Next slide. So when we're focusing on the real-time data, first of all, what do we mean when we say real-time? We mean that it's a preliminary data, it's a foundational data that is available to you instantly, in just a matter of a click. You create your project in our product, you click a button, and immediately, in a matter of seconds, you get the utility information and the utility data that you need in order to enable you to proactively identify risk and conflict resolution before the field investigation begins. Regardless whether you are an organization that follows SOOP practices fully, partially, or not at all, having this comprehensive utility information just at the beginning of the project will gain you a clear picture about the utility infrastructure within your project area and will help you to minimize the unknown and to plan your project correctly. So these are the benefits and the reason and the value that we provide with the real-time data. This is an interesting part. Usually when in the initial phases of the project, typically, I know that not all of you are submitting tickets to the one call center, design tickets, to begin the process of identifying underground utilities within the project site. You're getting utility owner responses, you identify utility owners, etc. You're usually doing it also from getting the data, from reason of getting the data, but we all know that the data that is not sufficient over there, but you're also taking that from a liability perspective and start to communicate in your collaboration with the utility owner. The process of submitting a design ticket and getting information back from the utility owners usually takes days to weeks for responses from the utility owners, and sometimes responses may not be received at all for some utility owners. Now, imagine that you just click on a button and you get instant access immediately to utility owner information with just a click, enabling your immediate planning and coordination with the utility owners while you're waiting for the responses from the one call center. So you're not replacing the process with the one call center, you're just getting the responses and the utility owner information in a matter of seconds, and you can start your planning immediately, and you don't have to wait for these responses. This data-driven approach accelerates the project preparation and minimize dependencies on the traditional response time. So this is where the AI buzzword comes. We cannot avoid it because eventually our technology is powered by AI, and our core technology is AI-powered utility data engine or utility data mapping, which enable us to provide, first of all, to provide and to equip you with such enriched and comprehensive utility information at scale so fast. So how it works, it's very complicated, but trying to simplify it into three core pillars or sub-processes. The first one, we're detecting and validating, or I'm sorry, the first one is that we're collecting and extracting millions of records, millions of vector data, GIS platform, geomaps, PDFs, automatically scanning everything that we can scan, and collecting and extracting and structuring really hundreds of millions of records and still counting. And then we're running a process of detection and validation. We're taking all these tons of data that we collected and structured, and we're running remote validation technique from remote field scanning with satellite and aerial imagery for object and change detection. And we are applying domain expert engineering logic to make sure that to identify or to find areas that we could make the AI decisions better. And by doing so, we can eventually provide a much better and comprehensive utility information. And once we deliver it, we're not at rest. The AI engine continues to scan, collect, extract everything that is related to the utility. We take all the traditional sources, GIS, imagery, PDF, as-built, as-planned, etc., permits data, and we continue to collect it and enrich the initial result and the AI engine with more and more sources. This is, in a nutshell, how our AI-powered utility data engine works.
Amir, we had
Yes.
a question. We had a question come in around this. I'll pose the question. If you don't mind taking a stab at a response for us. Does 4M capture the as-built data to be incorporated into its database? And how does data ownership and collection responsibility work?
Okay. So yes, we're collecting as-built. We're extracting their data. At this point, we have several tiers of data tiers. One of them, the most foundational one, is the real-time data. The other one are called standard and advanced, which we apply more techniques and more data sources into the data. For the as-builts, we are applying them today on the standard and advanced data tiers. Down the line, we're planning to enforce the AI-powered engine, also to include the as-builts. Right now, the as-builts data is available on the higher confidence data tiers, which are the standard and advanced, and Lizzie will demonstrate these data tiers later in this webinar. And the second question was, Joe?
Yes, is this real-time data from a database, or is it generated based off what is seen above ground whenever a user needs it?
Yeah, this is a great question. First, I'll say from a database, it's our database. After we collected and extracted millions of records and sources, etc., we created our own proprietary database through all the process that I described here. We are planning to add capabilities next quarter in the real-time data to deduce utility information based on evidences automatically and not just based on the databases that we constructed.
Great, thank you. One final question in this section before we pass it back to Lizzie for the demonstration. The question is around 3D. Is the data digitized in 3D? And maybe I'll take a shot at that one, and then if you have some follow-up. So through the 4M application, the data sets are shown in 2D. However, we do have the ability to extract the data into common formats that can then be imported into 3D environments. So it just depends. In our platform today, it's in 2D. However, we have tested and have delivered data that is imported into 3D environments as well.
Yeah. And who knows, one day, based on demand, we might incorporate 3D models into our application directly.
Right.
Okay, just before passing over to Lizzie for demonstrating the product, I think we just to show you two testimonials, two quotes from two of our customers. I think the first one, LTRA, a company that provide engineering services and surveying and SU services. I think it's a wonderful example because for a company that is doing or providing SU services, which eventually it's about locating the utilities in the field, etc., how the real-time data, how they can benefit or are they benefit from the real-time data, right? It's providing them the foundational knowledge and sharing point for pursuit. They're able to estimate their pursuits better and submit better proposal and having competitive advantage on their proposal. But also they can take this data later to their field investigation team, to their field location team for QC processes. So they're guiding their field teams with the real-time data in order to guide them what to look for and how to perform the field investigation more efficient. The second one, we can see from Caltrans how the 4M data help them to overcome the challenge of time management and obtain utility information. I think the last part is interesting. This allows us to focus our attention on the most important task, because eventually, and we're getting this kind of feedback from a lot of our customers, once we are sparing the engineering or the hard work of desktop or remote research, and we provide a more comprehensive data, and eventually it can go to the field investigation team and make their work better and faster with less iterations. Think about all this labor work that is now free to do other stuff or to focus on other important stuff that can promote the project outcomes better.
Okay, awesome. So I think it's now my turn, guys. And what I'm going to do here is walk you through the product itself. And I want to acknowledge that we have seen a few additional questions come through, and we will do our best to get to those as we can. Some of them I think we'll even answer for you guys throughout the presentation. So what I'm about to do is walk you guys through 2 real-time projects, one being in Texas, one being in California, the 2 current states that have the real-time product. From there, I will then walk you through what it looks like, the other 3 layers that exist today, and also articulate to you guys where we see being the best use case and business case for each layer. There is kind of a plan behind where you should use each layer, or I guess a best practice behind where to apply each layer based off the construction stage of the project life cycle. So I'm going to jump on over here to 4M. And I'm going to start off by taking us over to Austin, Texas. And so I'm just going to click on my address bar and go to Austin, Texas. So take a trip with me down to the capital. And what I'm going to do here is zoom in just a little bit, where I can then come through here and create my new project. And I'm going to draw a polygon just in this area, just kind of grab a big swath of area, close out my polygon, and hit next. And I will just call this Austin. And then I will hit see utility map. It's kind of straightforward as that. The first layer you're going to see is what's called our utility density map. And this is the data behind the real-time layer. This is free to anyone who were to log into the platform today and want to take a peek at some of their projects, where we do give you high-level analytics such as the total utility owners and analytic length or a utility line length. But for the sake of this, what I'd like to do is also take you to the real-time preliminary data layer. So this is going to start loading in. You guys will see in a matter of seconds the real-time utility layer for you. And so what we're doing here is providing you real-time access based off of the public realm and GIS databases and servers to give you visibility in a matter of seconds into what the real-time layer can, or what you guys would go about collecting for your records. When we think about this layer, think about marketing, think about business development and pursuits, think about initial record research, feasibility and concept planning studies. That is really kind of where we envision this layer really chiming in into your workflow today, allowing you to go after more projects and perhaps even win more bids. I want to kind of navigate now around the platform for you a little bit and show you what you can see inside of this layer. So I mentioned over here a moment ago how to kind of familiarize yourself with, in a matter of seconds, we're giving you access into the amount of utility owners at this level, and as well as the utility line length. So what I'm going to do here is also take 1 second just to jump into the utility owners and show you how we slice and dice the data. And so you can see here we break down the sectors based off of communication, or how many owners are in energy and water, etc. But you also can come over here and say, okay, I'd like to see the lines belonging to this particular owner. And so for now, I'm going to jump in and just click show lines, zoom in briefly. And now you can see all of the lines that are belonging to the Lower Colorado River Authority. To take it one step further, while you're navigating in the map, if you do click on the line itself, you are able to see this metadata just by selecting on the line inside of the map. So if I reset my filters and pull everything back in, you now can see that you have all of these lines You can click through them, and when we have the metadata available, what you're going to do is see it right here by either clicking through the lines or filtering into your project. And so you had that real-time access right here into the utility owner to have a high-level idea of what utility projects you guys are going to work with, or what utility lines you might be running into, and to plan and account for. So I'll zoom back out here just a little bit, and that is how quickly you're able to access your utility data. Sorry guys. You're quickly able to access that real-time utility data. Other pieces I want to show you guys in layers that we offer within the real-time subscription. So we've gone over the analytics tab. Let's take a jump over to the layers tab now as well. So within this layer, at no additional cost, you will be able to come through here and see land ownership. So if you'd like to just kind of take a peek in, you have access to the different parcels, which are also click into a bowl, if you will, to see additional metadata such as the parcel owner and information along that line. Additionally, we also provide in topography, floodplain, and then also the estimated right-of-way. So you have all of these additional layers that are available for you directly in 4M as soon as you create that real-time layer map. Okay. The next thing I want to do is I do want to then jump over and show you a similar project in the California area, as we are launching California, or just launched California. And so I want to also just give you a sneak peek at what that could look like for you. So I'm going to head on over to Culver City. And from here, I'm going to zoom in to sunny California. And so what I'm going to do is the same steps, create those projects. I'm going to draw my polygon and close it out. And then I will hit next. And see my utility map. So similar concept here, right? Immediately we are going to see that heat map to where everyone has access to this as well in California, to where you are able to leverage this at no cost, maybe use it in a marketing or a pursuit bid. However, taking it one step further for yourself, you can access the preliminary real-time data, and it's going to load in all of those segments. So we'll start to see them all start to load in one by one, fetching the sewer, fetching the reclaimed water, fetching the electricity, and it's going to all start to load in here. And then same thing, I can come and slice through my list, viewing my list. If I want to see specific lines belonging to a specific utility owner, I can simply show those lines and click into it, and you'll be able to see again the sector, the utility owner, and the line length, and any additional data that we might have available at this layer. Okay, so that is going to be the real-time layer. And so at the highest level, that's the real-time subscription. This is brought to you through, I guess, what I'll explain to you guys. I'll walk back through what Amir mentioned. The real-time layer, we are aggregating all of the public realm into one real-time map and conflating and synthesizing that data into one map for you. And then I'll actually let him get to the roadmap for you guys. I almost jumped into the roadmap. So that is the real-time layer. What I wanted to, yep, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Lizzie, if I can just quickly interrupt there. We did get a question or two here. Maybe we'll answer one of the questions here. So the question is, can the program also identify above ground utilities such as overhead conductors, power poles, and so forth? So Amir, maybe you can answer that question. Above ground utilities and on surface features.
Yeah. So above ground and on surface features are available today in the standard and advanced, the higher confidence data tiers that we provide, not yet in the real time. Starting from this quarter, end of this quarter, meaning June, we're starting to introduce the ability, and I'll speak about it in the roadmap, to show on-surface object. We will start with manuals and poles, and gradually we will add more and more on-surface object. I will elaborate on that in the relevant slide in the roadmap section.
Great, thank you. And then we had one other question. Maybe I'll answer this question for us. Is can one go ahead and dig using our data? Of course, our response is no, our data is not used as a sort of quality check for the work that happens out in the field, right? Everything that you've seen today is a conflation of the data and the information that is available and presented through our platform. Every state, every municipality has their own requirements, of course, for permitting and locating and things like that. And so we, of course, have to support that, and we recommend that you follow your regulations and requirements in your specific area before you send the folks out there to put the shovels in the ground.
Okay. So that what we introduced you guys to is our real-time layer. Again, thinking about real-time, we kind of best practice and use case for that level is that marketing, business development, and pursuits, initial record research, feasibility studies, and concept planning. What I want to do is take you to that next level of confidence. I mentioned at the beginning that I will touch on our higher level of confidences at the end of the call. And so what I want to do is take a few moments and show you a project that we've done for another customer, going into our standard and our advanced levels of data to give you a sneak peek at what we can do there as well. And so I am going to jump over here to this project. Okay. So we've seen this. This is that heat map. This is that utility density map, that layer below the data below the real-time data. What I want to take you from here is jumping out of the utility density map and pulling in that standard utility research. So the standard utility research is going to leverage a couple of pieces of information. It's going to leverage all of the data in the public realm and the GIS servers. It's going to leverage information from PDF plans that we were able to kind of detect and scour into our engine as well, such as as-built construction plans, blueprints. And then lastly, it's also going to take in effect current visual imagery. We have partnerships with dozens of satellite aerial imagery providers, and so we're leveraging current imagery. And so at the standard level, you are going to start to see we do leverage on-surface objects to also pull in and correct minor deviations at the standard too. So what you can see here is at that level of what you're able to find through construction plans, as-built, and records and current imagery, we're able to pull in this project. And you are able to come in here and click, just like we previously showed you with the utility sector, the utility owner, if it's above ground or underground is also highlighted for you here. The standard we recommend as a best practice being used for preliminary planning, record research, conflict analysis, and utility coordination on the front end of the project. So the standard is a really common one to see even earlier in the project lifecycle. And what I want to take a moment to do from here is now leave the standard map up, and I want to pull in the advanced utility research. This is our highest confidence and level data. So I'm going to pull in this, and you see it gets a little bit busier almost instantly, right? We've seen some of those questions come through talking about this already. And so I'm going to zoom into this section here. And what I want to talk about is how do we go about advanced and why is there more data, right? So the advanced data takes everything we talked about that we've conflated and synthesized and digitized and created the map for standard. All of those records and public realm data, all of those blueprints and as-built, all of those visual imagery. And then what I'm going to do is take it and I'm going to apply historical imagery over time. And we're going to look for any trenches, earth scarring, and at this point, correct any deviations and lines that we're able to identify through visual evidence, and as well as find undocumented lines. And so what you're seeing here in this visual evidence is that you have this gas line that was running right here that I just clicked on to give you this metadata. And we were able to confirm through visual evidence this line's actually about 12 feet below. And not only does it not end right here, it continues down this street, as well as additional sewage lines and a few additional unidentified and unverified. We can see what's happening there, but we weren't able to support exactly what type of utility it was in that moment. It's something we call on you to check out in the field. And so what we've done is increased a higher confidence by finding undocumented lines, correcting deviations, using all of our full technology stack, applying historical imagery, and providing you guys with a more robust map to take into the field. So at this level, we think about advanced. When I talk about the advanced level, I want you to think about going into design, going into pre-field investigations. We've seen people use it post-field investigations for any QA, QC, as well as any sort of risk mitigation. So you're getting a little bit closer to the design phase and really needing to have a little bit more confidence in what you're doing. So we've gone over the heat map and the density map. We've gone over our real-time layer, our standard and our advanced. And so from here, what I want to make sure we reserve time for is giving this back to my friend Amir to go over the upcoming roadmap.
Thank you. I think it's just important to mention that the data is available to download it, to export into different format, GIS format, CAD format, just again in a matter of a click. So you can take data and import it into your own system as needed.
Yeah, and let me take 1 second. I'm so sorry, Amir. You caught me on something I forgot to mention. You can download this data directly in the platform. And just to give you kind of a sneak peek, you can jump over to the CAD file. So for all my engineer friends, you can see that we also present this here. We do provide you with the CAD files. And what I also would like to show you is the PDF that we provide as well. And then I'll give that back to you as soon as I take just a peek at this for our friends. So what you can see over here on this PDF is that we are in fact just giving you visibility into our line type, our symbology, as well as what you can view and where the lines fall. We'll give you all of your CAD files. You have your symbology, as well as if we validated it, unvalidated it, what type of line it is. And so you'll be able to use this along with your advanced data records as well. So this comes with every advanced file. Apologies and thank you, Amir, for holding me accountable for covering all of that information. Let me share back over to the presentation.
Yeah, Lizzie, while you're switching back to the slide deck there, Amir, we got a couple of quick questions in before we turn it back over to you. Can the utilities for smaller rural areas not as populated as Austin or California be shown in 4M? The short answer is yes. The technology can be applied to any area. Think of any area in the United States, whether it's rural, urban, a combination of both. The technology can be applied and we can deliver the results in the same way in an urban area as we can in a rural area. And then one other quick question. We can add a layer where we can see our land ownership or highlight public right-of-ways throughout the country. The answer is yes. So as the states are launched and become available in the platform, all of the different layers that Lizzie walked through would be made available for you in any of those launched states. Amir, back to you.
Yeah, so being respectful for the time that we have, I'll try to go in a nutshell over the roadmap. We're focusing on the roadmap on the feature that are related to the real-time data, not our entire roadmap. And this feature will ensure that you have the latest information just a matter of a click. The first one, we launched Texas, the real-time data, we launched it in Texas and California in the recent 2 months. And it's already accessible in these states. In May, we are going to launch Colorado and Florida as additional 2 states with accessibility to the real-time data. And end of June, end of this quarter, doing the same with Georgia and New York for further extending our reach of real-time data on across key states. We have an ambitious goal. We know it. We have a goal of, by end of this year, to launch the real-time data across 15 to 20 states. Very ambitious, but we are we believe that we'll meet it, and we'll make sure ensuring that more project teams and more customers have the access to real-time data utility for successful project planning. We are, as I mentioned before, when we're releasing real-time data in a certain state, it doesn't mean that we leave the state untouchable. Our AI-powered engine plays a pivotal role, and it continuously looking and searching and collecting additional information, analyze it, and eventually gradually updating the data over and over and over and over. So the real-time data is improving continuously over time. And of course, we are also taking customer feedback, customer material that they're willing to share with us, and incorporating that into the AI engine in order to make the data more and more comprehensive and reliable. Next slide, please. Yeah. So this is about what we touched in the previous, is one of the previous questions about the on-surface object. As I said, today we are making the on-surface object available on the higher data tier, standard and advanced. We have a very great plan to incorporate them into the real-time data. So imagine a situation that you're being able to identify on-surface object instantly from your desk by just clicking a button without spending hours or, I don't know, days of scanning Google Earth, Street View, aerial imagery, or any other tool or source that you're using. What we're planning to do is we are incorporating our computer vision technology and scanning capabilities to provide information on the real-time data, allowing you to identify approximately 80% more or less of the on-surface object with ease. And of course, it eliminates the manual searching through all the sources and databases. And our scanning technology is designed to achieve high accuracy. So we are able to identify a wide range of on-surface objects across different environments and location. And for every on-surface object that we identify, we will attach to it a visual evidence to enable you to trust the data and to pinpoint exactly this on-surface object. We will start with manuals and polls, and gradually we will add more and more objects, on-surface object, into that process directly in the real-time data. And I think that the last is, if you can move next slide, move to the next slide. I think the last one that we would like to share with you, we're working on a mobile application that is designated to enhance the collaboration between the engineers behind the desk and the field team. So we want to empower seamless data upload, maintenance, and workflow management on a one shared single app. The mobile application intends to bridge the gap between the engineers and the field team, and to facilitate real-time collaboration on project data and tasks. Field users with this app can contribute meaningfully to the project management, capturing data directly into the app, capturing what they see on the field, reducing reliance on manual data entry and paper-based processes, but also reducing the data loss, the data fidelity loss that happens between the different stages of the project. We're currently working on the app, and as we are a very customer-centric company, we value user feedback, and we're doing discovery session in the next 2 months with different teams from our customer base and generally from the market, in order to make sure that we're evolving this collaboration tool, and we are addressing exactly the needs and embracing productivity.
Hey, Amir. We had a question come in that maybe I'll throw it over to you. Can the data be shared with others once it's been downloaded from the 4M application?
Yeah, the data can share, first of all, in the 4M application, the data can share among the users that you want to share the data with. Once you import the data to another system, you can do whatever you want with it. So because you imported the data into your system, and of course you can share it with others.
And then maybe one more follow-up question. Is the data get related to data in the right-of-way versus data outside of the right-of-way? Is the data that is gathered only for utilities within the public right-of-way? Does the program also provide information on utilities that cross railroads right-of-way, or perhaps that go into sites, private development sites, areas that are outside of the public right-of-way?
So first of all, I think you mentioned that before. We are covering urban, rural, and as part of that, we're not limited to right-of-way or public right-of-way areas. We are mapping data that is outside of the right-of-way, that is crossing right-of-way, etc. So right-of-way is not our limitation. But however, we are focusing on horizontal linear construction project. We're not focusing, our focus is not providing data on private properties or for projects that are more related to vertical projects, etc. So, but we're not limited to the right-of-way area.
Got it. Chris, we did have a question come in here, and this is the $1 million question. Everybody that we talk with asks this question of us, and that simply is, how accurate is the real-time data? Maybe I'll take a stab at that one. So, broadly speaking, accuracy can be subjective depending on maybe when or where the data is used within that entire project lifecycle. Our vision is to be able to provide a comprehensive baseline data set for use in all stages of the construction delivery process, which can include planning, the development, those early stages into design and so forth. Although our data is often verified from an accuracy perspective from maybe 2 to 6 feet in general, it's from the ground truth. The bigger impact is really the coverage and the completeness of the data, and it's how it's used as part of that project lifecycle that I defined. This is the critical value that 4M delivers with our platform. It's fast, it's reliable, it's comprehensive, and it puts that data in the hands of the right people at the right time.
Yeah, and I think, Joe, just to adding to that, again, we are not trying to replace the regular traditional ways to locate data before digging, right? What we do provide is a very comprehensive utility data set at the very early stages of the project in order to reduce your risk and foresee the unknowns long before you used to see it.
Yeah, thanks, Amir, and thank you everybody for a lot of questions coming in here. So we're trying to answer as many as we can, but as you can see on the current screen here, if we've piqued your interest up into this point in regards to accessing real-time data, I've got some good news for you guys. We're offering an exclusive promotion where you can get your first 3 projects absolutely free. I know everybody's favorite word, free. And it's really simple. All you got to do is start by logging in at 4manalytics.com, create your first project, and unlock your free trial. One little caveat, this is available for projects in Texas and California only at this point. And the first 3 projects are available by organization, not by user. I know we're getting close on time here. Like I said, we've had a lot of questions roll in, so if you guys don't mind, I'm going to start asking some more. So we had another one come in. Amir, do you want to take this one? It's, can I get data in Illinois?
Data in Illinois. So as I mentioned, this quarter in May, we're releasing real-time in Colorado and Florida, and by end of June in New York and Georgia, and we're planning to reach 15 to 20 states with real-time by end of this year. Illinois will be one of them. How we decide about the priority of the states with real-time, which come first, is based on business demand. So definitely anyone can impact, any customer can impact the priority of the real-time data. And important to say, not the real-time data, but the standard and advanced, the higher confidence tier are available nationwide in Illinois as well.
Thank you, Amir. Another question. This is a great question. How do you rank the most reliable data over other sources to create the map? How do you prevent duplications and inaccurate information?
So again, we are using several technique and kind of hybrid model between the AI-powered engine and human intervention, and explain. So we are evaluating data sources, tons of data sources based on reliability, coverage, quality, and relevance. Our mapping technology employs advanced data fusion techniques to integrate all this information from various sources into unified dataset. We leverage the machine learning and AI algorithm to analyze and prioritize the data, to decide which data set is better than the other one, which layer is correct, which layer is not correct. And it's a continuous learning machine that takes historical accuracy and reliability patterns and improve its learning and ability to identify the relevant or to rank correctly the relevant sources and to conflate them together. Now that is the machine. In addition, we have our domain experts, which are expertise in civil engineering and utilities, etc. They review the critical data points and resolve complex issues that require human judgment and domain expertise. And then their decisions are fed back to the AI-powered engine to improve the AI engine algorithm, so improvement process is continuous. Last but not least, we appreciate and getting feedback from our users and stakeholders that informs our effort to enhance the data reliability and to minimize inaccuracies over time.
All right. Thank you, Amir. And looks like we're just about at time here. Like I said, I wanted to be cognizant of everybody's time. Thank you so much for everybody who asked a question. Thank you to my colleagues. Thank you for everybody who attended. And again, if you're interested in accessing real-time data, You can have your first 3 projects for free again in Texas and California. Please feel free to hop on over to 4manalytics.com and sign up today. It's super simple, as you can see. All you got to do is go to the website, create your project, and boom, it's pretty much that simple. Sometimes I have to like tell myself like, no, I should be more confident. No, it's actually that simple, and it's amazing. So thank you guys so much again for attending. I hope everybody enjoyed the presentation and found it insightful, and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Thank you, everyone.